This episode of Marijuana Today Daily is brought to you by our friends over at ease.com, California's top one-stop website for legal marijuana delivery, and now an option for folks living in the Portland, Oregon area. And of course, for the rest of us, there's easewellness.com, which has a wide range of hemp-derived CBD products, all of which will show up in your mailbox just 4 to 6 business days after ordering, assuming you're in one of the 41 U.S. states where that new service is active. Good morning, Marijuana Nation. It's Friday, March 22nd, 2019, and you're tuned in to episode 691 of Marijuana Today Daily. I'm your host, Shay Gunther, and I'll be walking you through today's marijuana news and headlines. As always, we have a full and busy day of cannabis news in our hands, so let's jump right into it. We lead off today with a fantastic long-form expose published in the Boston Globe looking at how two companies, Acreage Holdings and Sea Hunter, appear to be skirting around Massachusetts state law meant to limit the number of marijuana business licenses that can be owned by any one person or corporate entity. The story was written by Beth Healy and drew upon research from a team of writers, including noted industry journalist Dan Adams, and lays out in great detail how Acreage Holdings and Sea Hunter are using partnership deals, management consulting contracts, and capital loans to effectively take control of more than the maximum of 3 licenses allowed. And according to the story, it's all being done somewhat out in the open, at least on the part of Sea Hunter, which has actually pitched its Bay State license holdings to investors as a company positive. This is absolutely a story that you want to read today. Just a quick bit of disclosure on this one. We have a working relationship with KCSA Communications, with whom we produce the Green Rush podcast, and KCSA does do work for Acreage Holdings. We jump out to Michigan for this next story, as yesterday the state's medical marijuana licensing board met for the second to last time and approved a large stack of dispensary licenses, or provisioning centers as they're known in Michigan, while also approving a resolution that will provide a little bit of cushion for provisioning center owners by letting them sell out untested cannabis products bought from caregivers past March 31st, though they will be barred from buying any new untested product from caregivers past that date. The state is also allowing caregivers to sell to licensed processors and cultivators who must first test any bought flower before using it. Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer recently signed an executive order to disband the Marijuana Licensing Board, which will meet one more time before dissolution. Our final top story today is another must-read story by David Downs over at Leafly that looks at the future of cannabis as manifested in the $4 per eighths of legal marijuana that you can now buy in Portland, Oregon. You heard that right. $4 eighths are now widely available in Portland, Oregon dispensaries. And as David astutely pointed out, this is one of those genies that will not go back into the bottle easily, as Portland consumers have gotten quite fond already of those rock bottom prices. David's story goes into good detail on the economics of risk pricing, which is the amount of extra money built into the cost of illicit market goods to compensate people along the supply chain for the risks of getting caught by police. In a legal system, all those risk premiums fall away, and in a state flush with as much cannabis as Oregon is, you get $4 eighths and $40 ounces that would still go for 10 times that amount in other parts of the country. While it's almost certain that there will always be a market for high craft cannabis flower, you're fooling yourself if you don't see the general future commodification of cannabis. How cheap do you think flower is going to be once we start seeing enormous outdoor farms pop up in the Midwest? Read this story. Those are our top stories for today. It's time for Marijuana Today Daily Headlines Blitz. Before we blitz out in headlines, let's quickly thank our sponsor, ease.com, California's top one-stop website for legal marijuana delivery, and now an option for folks living in the Portland, Oregon area. Pop over to ease.com today and check out their fabulous, ever-changing daily deal, which today gives you 30% off the cost of select products from Pacific Stone and Heavy Hitters. Just use the discount code PARTY when you check out today. And then keep scrolling down to see the other properly tested, packaged, and labeled adult use products Ease has up for order. And if you're not in California or in the Portland, Oregon area, cross your fingers that you're in one of the 41 U.S. states where Ease Wellness delivers to. If you've been looking for a trusted source of CBD products, easewellness.com has you covered. Big thanks to everyone at Ease and Ease Wellness for the support that keeps our news lights on. All right, time for the Blitz. Yesterday, New York State Senator Dianne Savino, a longtime supporter of marijuana legalization, said in an interview with Cannabis Wire that if her state did not pass adult use legalization in the next few days, she didn't think the chances of it passing would be very good for the next few years. Senator Savino said that the recent removal by Governor Cuomo of adult use legalization from his budget proposal removed the cover that conservative state lawmakers needed in order to support a legislative move on legalization, and that she didn't think an adult use bill would pass in an election year, which next year very much is. Not a bad story to read in full. As always, we have all the news we cover linked to on our website at mjtodaydaily.com and on our Twitter account at mjtodaydaily. Boston, Massachusetts Mayor Marty Walsh wrote an opinion letter to the New York Times in which he responds to the issue of social justice and minority ownership within New York State's legal cannabis industry by talking about the steps that his city is taking to build an equitable legal marijuana system. While you can certainly argue about how effective Boston has been in that regard, I think it's still noteworthy that the mayor of Boston is even talking about the issue. On Wednesday, the Illinois State Senate Financial Institutions Committee voted to advance a bill that affords banks and financial institutions some protection from being punished by state banking regulators for working with legal cannabis businesses. Senate Bill 2023 is sponsored by Senator Tori Hutchinson and is supported by State Treasurer Michael Friedrich. There's also a companion bill working its way through the state assembly. Up in North Dakota, that state's Senate is deliberating a bill to expand the number of medical marijuana qualifying conditions to include issues like cancer, PTSD, anxiety disorder, chronic back pain, seizures, and autism. The bill has passed the North Dakota House, so it would head to the desk of Governor Doug Burgum should it survive the Senate. A Florida dispensary sold flower for the first time yesterday as that state's medical system reacts to a new state law allowing for smokable marijuana. True Leaf of Orlando nabbed the first flower sale in the state on the same day when competitor Curaleaf also got licensed to sell flower in their Florida dispensaries. Curaleaf is one of our sponsors. Keeping our feet planted in the Sunshine State for one more headline, we have the Florida State Boxing Commission announcing a change to its drug testing policies in regards to marijuana. After a fight was canceled at the last minute earlier this month because of a failed marijuana drug test by a fighter, the Boxing Commission decided to abandon its previously held zero-tolerance cannabis policy for a more progressive limit of 150 nanograms per milliliter, the same level set by the World Anti-Doping Agency. CBD will be exempt entirely from testing. And finally for today, Kyle Yeager over Marijuana Moments has a good piece up about testimony given before a series of joint hearings held by the House and Senate Veterans Affairs Committee in Congress by representatives from the nation's top veterans groups on the issue of medical marijuana use by military veterans. As you might have guessed, one of the legislative priorities expressed by the military veterans groups in the hearings was increasing access to medical marijuana for military patients. This is a good one to open up in full for more detail and video. Those are the headlines and news for the day. I'll be back with you again Monday morning with another information-packed episode of Marijuana Today Daily. But in the meantime, if you have any stories to share or feedback to give, zip us an email to headlines@mjtodaydaily.com. And while you're clicking around the interwebs, swing over to our Twitter account at mjtodaydaily and visit our website at mjtodaydaily.com to find links to all the news we cover. Thanks to our sponsor, Ease, and to all of our awesome patron listeners for the support that makes this show possible. To join the lesser strengths of the patron listeners yourself, swing over to our website at mjtodaydaily.com and click on that big blue button at the top of the page that says Become a Patron. I'm your host, Jay Gunther. Thanks for tuning in and starting your day with Marijuana Today. Today.
One take, Shay. One take.